if there is a per diem, it's called pay. Even though the statute says there is no pay, it gives a per diem. There's a case that says if you get a per diem, it is pay. So it seems to me that it's probably an office. That is probably for pay. If you're on the board by virtue of a statute putting you on the board, so like one commissioner has to be on the solid waste board, one councilman has to be on the solid waste board. Okay.
We're live.
We're live.
Sorry,
We'll just cut us off.
we're live.
Order in the court.
It was probably my fault.
There's going to be a $200 fine every second. Okay.
That's
we're
right,
on
so it's
live.
not, yep.
Mic's on, everybody. Call this meeting to order, DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is July 10th, 2023. Good morning, Dottie.
Good morning, everybody. Hey, we have some hiring things going on. Let's see, as you know, Development Services, the code enforcement official, and so we have received some resumes on that, and so we really have. So I forwarded those on to Chris, and we'll see. I think he was going to do a phone interview with at least one of them early last week, maybe mid last week, and so we have that open for at least maybe I think another week. So we'll see who shows up.
Yeah.
So same thing with the nurse. Had another resume come through over the weekend. Forwarded that to Cheryl. She and I were set to do a telephone interview with somebody last week, and that person was ill. So she was going to wait until probably today to reconnect with the person and see about a phone interview. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, we still are looking for CDL drivers. We did have a few inquiries on Indeed. They responded to my posting, but in the posting it says that the person is supposed to go to the highway department and pick up an application. So that's kind of up to Ben if he has anybody, show up. I did have somebody say, "Hey, I'm going to stop by and pick one up," and I cautioned them not to show up on Friday, since the office is closed on Friday. So, the Sunny Meadows has some new people starting. That we had 3 kind of right off the bat resign, and so we have only one left open, and that is a second shift position. So we do have some resumes coming through for that, and hopefully Angela is taking care of interviewing, and when she selects somebody, we are actually running them through the motor vehicle report and of course our background check. But the motor vehicle report, especially because of the fact that they have to drive, more than likely they will have to drive one of the vans, to take people. So we want to make sure that we have that covered so that we don't get so far into the hiring process and then we do the motor vehicle report and, I don't have a driver's license, or the person isn't eligible. So we're cutting our our losses or whatever to try to get that right up front. And the Public Defender's Office last week informed me that one of their individuals has resigned, and so we will be posting for another one of their deputies. Sent out an email to our county attorney just in case he might know somebody who would be a good fit. I try to use my networks in addition to, putting out in our usual manner, but also any of my networks that I have, in case they happen to know somebody who knows somebody. It's just kind of works that way. Last, but certainly not least, is community corrections. And they still have that building maintenance, part-time building maintenance person. We've left that posting out to see if anybody, responds. And really haven't had anything on that. And they do have a residential facilitator officer open. And so they have received a few. That only happened, what was that, Tuesday? No, Wednesday? Forget. We had a holiday in there. And so we're passing those along. But overall, that's not bad. That's really not bad, considering, how many positions that we actually have with the county. So that is good.
Good.
We are still working with, of course, the insurances. There are all kinds of tweaks that we are making. One of the reasons I got here just on time was I was stopped by an employee who said, "I think I'm liking our insurance." Really? Do tell. And so I like to get those. Yeah, I appreciate the comments that are, well, it's not as good as the last one. That's what happens. But when we have somebody who goes to the pharmacy and it used to be $60 and now it's only $25, they kind of like that stuff. So
Real quick, Dottie, I went on the website, the Surest,
yeah,
signed
Surest.
up, took 2 seconds. I haven't had my blood drawn in 30 years. So I went on there, found LabCorp.
okay.
And I drove to LabCorp. They got me right in, no charge, 0 charge. And then my wife needed a prescription, 0 charge. And without the insurance, it would have been $240. It was free. So far, I mean, maybe I'm just
You're an outlier, but maybe not.
Well, yeah, but,
but
I'm
hopefully.
impressed, and it was just that
good.
quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm impressed so far.
Wonderful.
But keep going. I just
Oh,
want
no,
to give you my
I
positive
appreciate
too,
that.
so.
Yeah, we appreciate getting those comments. On the dental and the vision, that's going to be our big focus today, to make sure that website is up and running, and that that the standard has everything that they need from us. We'll just keep going with that. Like I said, tweaking. So, and they both Surest and the Standard have been, and Apex, let me throw them into the mix. All three have been really good about, staying in communication with me, and, if we need to tweak something. And we went through, Lindsay and Teresa and I went through some training last Thursday, and on the Surest website, and Surest discovered a few things that they need to tweak for us to make it a better experience for us, and on the employer side. So they're doing that, and so at least now we know how to get in, make some changes. Something so simple as an employee already, their spouse is changing jobs. So the spouse will need to be on our insurance until the spouse's insurance kicks in at their new employer. And so, how do we do that on the website? We hadn't done that yet. So we were able to get in and make those changes, and, so that's, it just takes some time, get all those things moving. And then also, one of the things that we talked about last time was the spousal carve-out, taking that away for our spouses who are both county employees. I had asked everyone to get back to me by the end of the week if they wanted to make any changes, mainly because we didn't want to have to change, the deductions and payroll and trying to get all of that going. So I only had one couple get back to us, and they opted to just keep everything the same. So the other, So we'll just,
Did they have children?
yes.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
Evidently it does to them.
Oh,
So
that's fine. It
Does to
costs
them.
us less.
I know. Yeah.
But I-
So that's what they chose to do.
Okay.
So
fine.
yeah,
That's
we
their choice.
it's as we put in as I put in the email, it's whatever is best for your family, and so that was only one. got back to me. So, yeah. The other thing is, speaking of Surest, I had sent you the summary plan document, and hopefully you had a chance. I know it's a lot of legal stuff, isn't it, Andrew? And, I went through there, and I had a few comments that, but they're nothing really big. I thought it's kind of boilerplate, if you ask me, for a health plan, and so I will get with Surest today. After you have any comments, I can get back to them about that. Starting with anybody,
Comments?
Andrew.
Well, I took one look at it and realized it was an area of the law that I don't have any expertise in. So it's a bunch of boilerplate, and if you change one thing, there could be federal law that requires you to have it that way anyway. So I'm willing to go through it today or something, but I did not go through it with a fine-tooth comb because I wouldn't know the law. I wouldn't know square one of the law that applies. I think Dottie's review makes a whole lot of sense. Is it logical, and does it connect in with HR rules she knows and our employees and stuff? But I'm willing to look through it and analyze it. I just don't know. I wouldn't have square one of whether this, paragraph is required or not.
Right.
So
Yeah, I know. There were a couple things, specifically in like the end dates. When an employee terminates employment with us and they have health insurance, the health insurance is good until the end of the month in which they terminate. And so I made that. That really wasn't very clear in this summary. And but there were just just a couple other little things that as I went through. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good document. Whether or not any employees really read it, it's it's 113 pages of stuff. So yeah. But that was one of the more glaring, I guess, ones, because they had the date the plan is terminated. Okay, that's right. The date the covered employee terminates. That's not right. It's actually the end of the month after, in the month. So, Anyway, if you guys didn't have anything, but they're fine with hanging out for a little bit longer. We just like to get this stuff wrapped up and have it, and be able to file it with whomever we need to file it. So.
I'm good with it. I don't know what I would add to the. Yeah, I'm reading Japanese when I read that. If Andrew says he's not an expert, I'm certainly not even a layman when it comes to it. So I'm good with it.
Okay.
Hey, I think we need to sign it
that's
to
a
find out
safe
what's
enough
in it,
guess.
right?
Well, no.
Famous words.
What else you got, Dottie?
That's really it.
Is that it?
Yes, that is really it. Yeah. So what do you guys have for me?
I don't really have anything for Dottie, but on your comment about the inspector for the unsafe building or the
The code enforcement.
enforcement.
Yeah.
would it make sense to maybe offer a raise to, I believe Jeff Mark, well, won't mention names, our building inspector.
The building inspector.
Would it make sense to offer a slight raise to him and have him carry more responsibility if he can handle the responsibility?
Well,
Since
it's been, I think, helter-skelter
Yeah, I
with
think he
him.
barely has time to
He's
do what
just, I know he's
supposed
up
to be
early in
doing.
the morning
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
going at it.
I mean, there
So,
might come a time when that would work, but probably not.
okay.
I think we need to replace Paul
Yeah.
and probably, hopefully with somebody who can work more hours.
Paul was good at it.
Paul was very good.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
the
yep.
thing is, what I wonder about though is filling that part-time position might be hard versus, but okay, just a thought anyway, but if he's
Well,
that busy.
If we could get lucky enough for a law enforcement or fire department,
Yeah,
Yeah. The ones that are on
they're
the
looking for those.
48 on, 48 off, those sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a comment from a fellow the other day that said he knows people that are looking for part-time maintenance or maybe some building inspector position, maintenance and and building inspector would kind of go together.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I will get with him and see if he knows somebody.
Okay.
Right, yep,
Well,
yeah.
code enforcement is a little different than building inspector, just because of
Well, I
the nature
mean,
of.
maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's doing building maintenance or
Yeah.
building or construction or something like that is going to have a little bit of,
Well, and someone that has
Well-
common sense and knows that a washer and dryer can't sit out in the front yard and,
Yeah,
you know, so
Paul's big advantage was he was great with handling people.
he was very
You know,
calm.
and tho-
Yeah.
those,
That-
those situations can get very
Yeah.
contentious and so forth if you don't have somebody with a decent personality and enough brains to
He was
to
very
handle
calm.
those things. So, yeah, let's not just, grab somebody off the street
Right.
necessarily.
Yeah, no, I agree, but he was, I think, someone that has general common sense and
Yeah,
mechanical
yeah.
skills can say, yeah, that building isn't right. You know, when someone, and it's just all complaint driven too. I keep telling people that, some people think they're being picked on. I'm like, no, this is all complaint driven. If you stay off the radar, it doesn't happen, so.
Yeah,
If you do what you promise you're gonna do,
It's, yeah, exactly.
exactly. Yep.
fortunately,
Anyway, that was just a thought of mine, but we can go past that, so.
okay. Anything else? Anyone? I guess you're free to go,
Okay,
you for
well,
your
you know
help.
where I am. So,
most of the time.
yeah, most of the time, yeah, that's me. So,
Thanks, Dottie.
thank you.
Thank you for handling the insurance. You did a great job on it. That was a
Yeah.
lot of work, I know.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It was, and I just keep thinking it's a great move for the county.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. All righty.
Okay, we got a little time before Chris comes in. We can jump right over into payroll.
I'd make a motion to approve payroll.
second.
Motion and second to approve payroll. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Payroll is approved. We had just a few claims.
I'll move to approve those.
And I'll second.
Motion and second to approve claims. Additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Claims are approved. Minutes, the second set of minutes.
Yeah, I'll approve the second. Since Todd Miller isn't on the first or on the second or whatever.
I'm Mike Sanderson. I made up a new person.
Is that what it was?
Hey, I caught it before today.
There was a sentence that just ended. It didn't end in a sentence, it just ended.
Well, I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, it was into a
Well, let's
paragraph.
approve the mistake.
Yeah. There was nothing. It just went so far and there was no period, no nothing. It just stopped.
I keep telling you, those 22-hour days are gonna get to you.
I know. Oh, I see it right here.
Anyway, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Minutes are approved. Had some travel.
We can go ahead and sign that because it won't affect the signature page. I haven't reprinted them yet this morning.
I'd move to approve travel.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second to approve travel. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Travel is approved. Okay, milestone payment and performance bond acceptance. What we got there? Susan?
Okay, so for County Road, wait a minute. Bridge 40. I think on 40. Let me verify because I asked him last night. No, Bridge 57 on County Road 40. The milestone contractors, we have the original performance and payment bonds that they submitted, so we just need to acknowledge that you guys received them. Receipt of them.
Motion of acceptance?
Do you want them? I
So we're
thought I sent
acknowledging
them.
acceptance from Milestone.
Of the performance and payment bonds that they submitted, that they gave us for bridge number 57 on County Road 40.
I'll move that we
Oh,
acknowledge.
I reviewed them and, I approved it with Ben. So it looks like the bonds are fine,
Okay.
state what they need to state.
And I'll still move that we accept them.
And I will second the acceptance.
A motion and a second. Is there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
You don't have to sign them.
No sign?
No.
Oh,
Just,
come on.
I know.
For
Well, I
once
guess if you
for
really
once I wanted
want.
to. Okay. Additional SRO for the school.
We don't have any update on that.
No update.
I added it just in case, but I asked the sheriff yesterday, and Teeters has to go to a school board meeting before we'll have an answer.
I did have a conversation though, I sat down with the sheriff and he's done a good job over there. The building's cleaned up. Morale's good there. I'm leaning towards granting his request for an SRO there just because he told me also that SRO would be done. They are not needed in the summer like the high school is, so they would be able to help with the road. And he's confident he can get the school to help out a little more with the cost. But he doesn't think it'll pull from his road officers. He's able to hire road officers, he said now, and keep up. But there's good things happening in the sheriff's office, and I would like to make him successful because he is, in my opinion, working his tail off to make it right over there.
Right.
So,
I'm inclined to agree with you on that, and the school resource officer program has just been hugely successful anyway, so if we can facilitate that, I think we need to do that.
and what's going on now too, and I mean, I never fear the world, but if you look at the insanity out there of these school shootings, and if we get a request from the sheriff and he thinks it's good, and heaven forbid someone go out there and start shooting up and there's no SRO there, plus this SRO would bounce around to the other county elementary schools. The only thing I didn't agree with, but this is between the city. The city is talking about possibly providing officers, one at J.R. Watson and one at McKinney. McIntosh. No, it's McKinney.
McKinney.
Yeah, I always get the McIntosh is gone. Anyway, they're talking about maybe giving an officer, and I thought, why do you need one at each one of them schools that are literally less than 2 minutes from but that's a city thing, that's up to them. But anyway, it was a good conversation, and I would be inclined to probably vote for it, especially if the school can step up a little.
There's a grant available for that for SRO officers. I don't know. It's,
State grant or federal? Federal grants are be 4 years.
here's
Before we
School Safety Grant Program Department, here it is, Indiana Department of Homeland Security.
Really? Maybe we should see what that entails.
They've got till the 26th to apply,
Of this month?
yes.
Can we shoot that to Andrew and have him read it maybe and see what, not that you don't
I
have.
have to get in, you have to look at it. Sometimes you have to get into doing it before you can get
Oh,
some of it.
Okay.
I've got a meeting with Jason. I can
Jason who?
Meek. I
Oh,
can
Meek.
see if he has any insight into that. He
Okay.
usually follows his
Yeah.
Homeland Security grants.
Yeah, maybe he could help us out too. Maybe ask Jason. Or I could call him. I'm on that board. I could call him up and,
I'm meeting with him this afternoon.
oh, if you're meeting with him, ask him about that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Anything you want me to review, just shoot it to me, we'll get
Okay.
it reviewed.
All right. Anyway, I didn't mean to babble on. I'm
Well, that's
impressed
okay.
with how Brady's done,
Yeah.
and I just I want him to be successful. So
Well, that program's just a win for everybody.
seems like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Brightly Software for Sheriff's Department, County.
Okay, again, I sat down with Kenneth. He's the new maintenance guy there. By the way, he's sharp. He can plumb. He's a master electrician, plus he has a degree in, I think, in electrical engineering, I believe. And he showed me the software, and basically what it is, it's almost like a spreadsheet that you can add documents to. And so like I said, if any piece of equipment, they'll barcode it. And if they ever need to know about it, they just take a picture of it with their camera, and it brings up the total history. You can put your service intervals in there, your maintenance intervals, like, if this freezer needs its coils cleaned every 6 months. Give you an idea, he said their water heaters there, previously, for some reason, they were never cleaning out their water heaters. They should be flushed every month because they're used so much. They get sediments in there, those on-demand water heaters. Well, he just had Auburn Heating show him how to do it, and now he has taken over that task, but the software would remind him. And they bought to give you an idea, Sheriff bought like a $3,000 tool that at first he thought, oh man, I don't know if I'll use this tool, but he's already used it now 3 times, and every time they've had to use that, had this thing fixed, it's been over $1,000 per time. So he's already got he's being proactive. He's doing the things he thinks he can do better in-house, and he's hiring the right people outside to do things. And I think the software, at first I was against it until I saw it operate, and I thought, man, that would be nice to have in my business, And I think we could get the courthouse, the sheriff, and community corrections on it. And if we do a county building, we might even have square footage available there to be under that 100,000 square foot cap.
Square foot.
And I think it's worth the money, so that's how I feel.
Do you remember what the money was on that?
$5,000 a year for unlimited buildings, but 100,000, unlimited amount of buildings, but 100,000 square foot
Square
of,
foot total.
yeah, which we'd be well under with the current 3 buildings.
That's a bargain.
It's pretty good deal. It's nice software. So
Well, you want to move on that today?
I'd like to, I'd move that we approve the Brightly software for starting with the sheriff to try out. And
Second.
A motion and a second. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay, we're at the 9 o'clock hour. Chris, you are up.
hello, Chris.
How's the work atmosphere over there? Is it-
Nice.
A
Nice.
little nicer with the air working.
Very nice. And it's nice not having the jet engines going, the AC units.
You can actually
Yeah,
hear.
it's been
you can
nice.
actually hear
Thank
what's
you.
going on.
It
What's
is
that?
working.
You can actually hear what's going on.
Yeah. Air's been working. Larry asked, he called me on Friday and said, hey, I'm going to come over and take those out. I said, let's leave them in just in case for the summer. They're not hurting anything.
I would.
They're up there.
Especially one in the window.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you just roll out of there.
Yeah, the other one we can roll out, but
Yeah.
they're not in the way. They're not hurting anything, so
Yeah.
I'm fine leaving them in. So nonetheless, thank you. Appreciate it. I have a couple text amendments that went to the Plan Commission in June, on June 21st. Both got unanimous favorable recommendations to pass on to you all. The first one is, there's quite a bit there, but
Chris, did you get my email this morning?
no.
Okay, keep talking.
Okay. There's quite a bit of amendments, but they're all very, very minor and help kind of clear up some. Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Help clear up some things I'll talk about here. In our A1 and our A2, our conservation agricultural and our agricultural districts, those two basically mirrored each other. They allowed the same uses. Some allowed, or the agricultural allowed a couple more uses, but the conservation agricultural, from my understanding, was created as a tool to help, obviously, conserve agricultural land. And back in 2009, up until September of 2010, allowed single-family homes by special exception uses.
Right.
And then in September of 2010, I believe it was 2010, it changed to allowing single-family homes by right, or they're just outright permitted. Have to go through
On A1 or A2?
A1 on our conservation,
But as like a housing addition or as a,
even a single-family home.
well, what I'm saying is just one single-family home or
Right.
multiple single-family
Right.
homes on the same property?
Just one
Oh,
single-family
okay,
home.
right.
Just one
Gotcha.
single,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And from my understanding too, it was created to, and there's a lot of caveats with this, but created to conserve the agricultural land and limit the number of single-family homes that can be split from that farmstead. So with these changes, we moved single-family homes and manufactured homes, which are basically the same thing, from permitted uses to special exception uses. And with that too, we created, that was not there as part of our 2009 update, but a conservation agricultural subdivision that can only be used in our conservation agricultural zoning districts. Right now, we allow up to 4 splits off of a parent parcel. So you could have 4 single-family homes off of a parent parcel.
Does that property, though, have to be in a different owner's name, or the same owner can own it, split it into 4 and put 4 houses?
Yep, can do
The
that.
same owner can split it up to 4 times in 4 houses?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
All right.
And so with these proposed changes, what we've done is limit those number of splits in the conservation agricultural land to just 2 splits.
Okay,
The main split, one split could be the farmstead, if there is one, a
Original.
original home, and then one additional split.
gotcha.
Or if there's not any original home there, then we could allow 2 splits.
Gotcha.
So that was, I'm getting in the weeds a little bit on, or down further in the text amendment stuff, but that's kind of the intent of revising our A1 district, was then to create a conservation agricultural subdivision district that would help limit those number of homes that can be split, or sorry, new lots that could be split for single-family homes. One thing else that we looked at was, one thing that we get a lot of through BZA and people requesting is we require 120 foot of lot frontage.
Right.
And the BZA has approved, and I should have looked at this, but I don't know how many, everyone that's been requested to lessen that from 120 feet to 40 feet. I've worked with Ben Parker to see what's the minimum that we need for, by the time they put in their culvert, maintenance on either side, so we've come up with a 40 foot. And that's been approved by the BZA every time it's gone forward. So we've added that as a standard. Right now, it's still 120 feet, but it can be lessened to 40 feet by right, meaning not going to the Board of Zoning Appeals, if the lot or the lots are designed to conserve agricultural crop production. So if it helps, because a lot of these times, there'll be 120 feet back to a woods that someone
right.
wants to build on.
Right.
And so you have to have 120 feet all the way back to the
Back.
woods,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Have 40 feet at the
Road.
road, and then you could either A, lessen it down,
Yeah.
or you could take 40 feet all the way back. So that is something that we've changed in our A1 and our A2 districts as well. So just help with the conservation of our agricultural land. With this too, the Plan Commission's gonna undertake looking at our zoning districts as a whole. This is kind of the first of many steps that we're gonna have to do, but even to changing the zoning map, which probably will happen after our comprehensive plan gets updated in about 2 years. So we've got 24 zoning districts in the county. It's a lot. Some of them you don't need. In this case, we decided to keep, it was a question that we talked about for 2 months prior to coming to this step, was do we need an A1 and an A2 district? Is there a need for it? And the Plan Commission ultimately decided that there was, but is there a need for, a multifamily district in the county? Probably not, because it's going to be, by the time you get sewer, water, anyway, a bunch of stuff. But, so we're going to dive into looking at all the districts, looking at the map too, and seeing where's the best uses for our conservation agricultural districts. Are they where they should be? Are they actually helping preserve agricultural crop production, or is it bad farm ground that doesn't yield much anyway? I don't know. So those are all things we're going to look at. So back to this. So we changed to the 40 feet if the lots are designed to conserve agricultural crop production. Again, we added a conservation agriculture subdivision. Basically, all that we're doing here, like I said, is requiring anyone that's in the A1 district to do a conservation agricultural subdivision. It probably won't make everybody happy because there's a lot of splits that have been done that they will be at their maximum number of splits. But I think that it helps with the intent of the zoning ordinance to help conserve agricultural crop production if we stick to our guns and limit the number of splits for new single-family homes in our A1 district. You can always rezone it. They could always rezone their lot to an A2 and go through a rezone and then go through the minor subdivision process, which would allow them more lots. But it would require them to come to the Plan Commission and to the county commissioners for that rezone.
So that's what I was going to ask. What does that look like, the process? Because,
A public hearing through the Plan Commission and then a public hearing through the county commissioners.
Gotcha.
Again, added the addition of the conservation agricultural subdivision, permitted only in the A1 district. Again, those sections are all brand new. And then removal of the A1 as a prerequisite base zoning in our minor subdivision. So we're not allowing any in the minor subdivision, which is what we only have now to allow for splits in the county. That will remain 4 splits, but it's only for our A2 districts and above. So A1 only allows 2 splits and has its own subdivision. A lot of information there, but I think the ultimate goal here for the Plan Commission is to help conserve that agricultural crop production as best we can. And to do that is to take this back to the original intent of the UDO, which is to limit the number of single-family homes that can be in the A1 district.
One question I had, there was a change for wind generating equipment or something I read in one of them where it was labeled as a permitted instead of an exception. If I read the report right, was that one of the changes?
So our wind energy, and I got the whole zoning ordinance back here. Wind energy has its own section in our UDO.
Okay.
And I think something that you were maybe asking is somehow when the wind energy was put into the UDO in our, right there it is, development standards, it's permitted in A1, A2, A3, A4, I1, and I2. So basically all of our agricultural districts and our industrial districts. But it was never put into the table correctly. So in the actual Article 2, it wasn't put in there correctly.
Okay.
So, and that was brought up at a Plan Commission meeting, and basically what we decided was it's in the standards correctly. It's just not, it needs updated on the tables.
On the tables, okay.
So we're just gonna do that administratively, and that's gonna be done if these get approved, it'll all be revised then. But yeah, that was just an overlook back in, I don't even know when it was done, when wind energy was done back in, gosh,
In as a
10 or
standard,
11?
it just wasn't on the table.
Right,
Okay, all right.
right.
Okay, so,
Just send me the minutes, I'll look at them. Oh,
yeah, I will, but, okay, so I didn't have the resolutions that you guys will vote on to be able to post it with my agenda
Right.
in 48 hours. So we either have to read those aloud during the meeting, or we're gonna have to wait until next week to do the vote, so that I can post it and you can pass it on title only.
I can wait.
You can wait.
I'm fine with that too.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Because that's a lot.
that's fine.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Be
reading.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Be here an hour reading it.
okay, so,
And if you guys look over this and have any more questions, feel free to call me or stop by.
Okay.
And this isn't bad. We're doing 51 text amendments at the Auburn Plan Commission.
Are they really?
Yeah,
Gosh.
yeah, coming up at the next meeting.
so Chris, will you add the numbers that I gave you and then send me
Resend
with
it.
the,
I'll resend you everything on Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday,
good deal.
like I did last time. Cool.
Sooner than later, because I post Wednesday.
Oh, you post Wednesday. I'll send it to you Tuesday. I'll do it today.
Thank you.
Any other comments on
Looking at
that?
my eyes.
I think it's entirely a judgment call of the
Yeah.
leaders, and the Plan Commission seemed to, well, you were there, Mike, Plan Commission seemed to head in that direction. I don't see any problem with it. It does seem like it conserves agriculture a little bit more, makes people have to go through another step if they're wanting to have a major subdivision or minor subdivision, I guess it's larger. So there is an out for them. They could get rezoned into A2. And the idea with A1 is that it's more in the middle of the county and not right up next to the city.
Right.
The idea is not to have A1 butting right up next to where Auburn or Garrett or Butler might put a subdivision.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
And part of that, and when we did our extraterritorial jurisdictions for Auburn and Butler, Waterloo, a fault of the Plan Commission is that we didn't look at our zoning districts that surround those ETJs and make sure that they are mirroring what we want. So there's a lot of moving parts with this, but we really need to look at the zoning map as a whole too, and see if areas that are agriculture make sense, if it's areas that are industrial, if those make sense. There's a lot of things that we need to look at, but yeah, we'll be back. Goal is to dive into that the rest of this year. I have one more, and it's removing the fee schedule from the UDO and putting it within our rules of procedures. Indiana code allows the Plan Commission to establish fees to defray the cost of processing and hearing petitions for rezoning, special exceptions, special uses, and variances for issuing permits and other actions. And it basically should not be in your UDO. It can be, but then any changes to
Has to change UDO.
have to change the UDO, right?
You want
Exactly.
to change the fees, you got to go through a
Change
change of
UDO.
zoning to change your fees.
Right,
$5.
right. You have to go through a text amendment to change your fees. And so allowing the Plan Commission to vote, they will have to vote on it through their rules of procedure, but they can establish what those fees are going to be. Our fees, and I think I sent it to you all too,
read it.
is we're the lowest in our area, which can be a good thing, but can also be a bad thing. When you're only going, like for the Board of Zoning Appeals, for instance, you want people to kind of stick with what the standards are in the UDO, unless something is really wrong with not wrong, something is up with their property, whether they have a really narrow lot or they have a wetland that butts up against something that they can't meet setbacks. You know, there's reasons to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for variances, and probably 90% of the people that come to our BZA are doing it because it's a cheap way to get around the zoning. So anyway, removing those fees, and we're going to look at editing those next month or the month after through the Plan Commission, but will help us, will help the Plan Commission establish those fees without having to go through the text amendment process. It's just a cumbersome process.
Like that idea.
So That's another one that we can do next month too, I guess, right, Susan? Both of them will have to be done next
Yes.
month? Okay. So, yep, and if you want to take a look at those fees that we had in there as well, if you have any recommendations on what fees should be for the Plan Commission, I'm fine with hearing those too.
Okay.
But both those did get unanimous recommendations from the Plan Commission. Well, I'll see you next month then. If you need me, do you think you'll need me here?
Next month or next
Or
week?
next, geez,
Okay.
next,
You can come next month if you
okay,
want.
I'll be here next month.
I mean, I
Actually-
won't need you, but
I'll come because we're
if
gonna
they
need
have more-
signatures and then recording them anyway.
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna come.
I'll come.
Yeah, come on over.
Cool, thank you guys.
Thank you, Chris. Have
Thanks
a
for
good
working
day.
on that, Chris. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, not a problem.
Have a great day.
You too. It's been beautiful.
Oh, isn't it awesome?
Get it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, we've got about 14 minutes or less. Ben comes in, you want to dive into this SB4 local public health funding debacle?
You want me to start?
Go ahead.
I talked to Cheryl, had about a little less than an hour sit down with her. She seems happy about it. She thinks Souter's on board. I've talked to Souter, he's on board, but I haven't really talked to him. I want to really sit down and go over things. And my biggest concern, and I told Cheryl this world's getting so crazy. I'm worried about the overreach coming from the top. Now, we can opt out as we talked, but, you know, the CDC just put a thing out, how men can, they call it chest feeding. They give men drugs, men make lactose or some type of, and they're actually saying it's a good thing for babies to have men breastfeeding their kids. And I know that's not our state saying that, but the Fed gives the state money, the state gives us money, and if we get hooked on this plan, I'm just afraid later they're gonna pull a 3 or 4 year Lucy pull the football trick on us to Charlie Brown. We hire all these people and then I have to fire people. And I just, so I want to have that discussion.
If they give us that choice.
Now,
in the
Cheryl
future.
said, hey, that comes to my office. I'm not teaching that. So, I mean, she convinced me that she would be on board for,
Well,
you know.
but guys, the same thing can happen with community crossings, you know, the state can decide we have to stripe the roads with purple stripes or something. That's, you know, you can get so extreme with this. Maybe this could happen and stuff. And in the meantime, we're taking money out of circulation that could actually help the health of our constituents.
And that, I think that's Souter's concern, is he thinks it could help the health, and I want to get in deeper than that, because I'm like, well, my father, who knew that smoking was bad for 50 years, continued to smoke because he liked it. I don't care how many programs you would make. He told me, hey, Todd, I smoke, and I don't care. We have all these programs out there, and what Cheryl's plan was, just so you know, she wants to hire another administrator to handle in other words, this 800 grand comes in, or 700 or 900, whatever it might be. They hire an administrator, and then that administrator goes to DeKalb Drug Free and says, hey, we're gonna give you 30 grand, and we want to see your numbers next year. In other words, how many people did you get to? Did it increase? Same thing with the smoking cessation program, whoever it is locally, she'd like to write them a check. And I said, well, okay, so you're adding an employee there, but she's gonna need it. There's no way Cheryl could handle this thing herself. They're adding 15 different programs. We have 8 programs we have to follow. You know, we do restaurant inspections, we do the septic systems. We're supposed to provide information about communicable diseases and give shots and on and on and on. Like I said, my biggest concern is the governor came out with this. I hate to characterize him this way, but I don't trust anything he throws to me, you know, as a program. And I just have concerns there. And I want assurance from Cheryl and Dr. Souter both that if this thing goes rogue, they won't push to keep it. In other words, we'll just jump out immediately. you know.
Well, I know Mark's going to reach out to you. I talked to him Sunday.
Yeah, I talked to him Saturday, and yeah. So I'm not ready to
And
vote,
then
I guess,
there
until I
are-
get I want more information.
Well, and I think, I think considering how far out we've gone on public comment on a number of other things, I think there's some interest from the public in having some comments on this too. So I think that's got to be a part of the process to at least allow that to happen.
I wouldn't be opposed to a public hearing on this if people want to have a say in this, because what I've gotten from the public so far has been negative, don't join. But I'm only probably hearing the more conservative side though. So I think
I'm certain that that's what's happening.
I think everyone's voice should be heard on that, but I'm just saying, I haven't heard one person, and one was a doctor yesterday at my church, said, So I'm just, here's the thing though. Souter's the head of the department, or well, he's the county health officer. Cheryl's the head of the department. I think we need to weigh what they want, to be successful, but then again, I represent the people of this county.
Yeah.
So this is a big decision. This isn't one, and I said, Cheryl, when do you really need? She wants really a month advance notice. We have to know by September 1st, but she would like to have something by August 1st.
Yeah.
And so I'm just telling you, if you want me to vote today, I'm no, because I don't have all the information. I hate to vote today without more information.
I think
You
that
can't
would be.
vote today because I need to know when you guys are going
Oh,
which way,
well then-
because I have to have an ordinance or
There you are.
resolution.
Okay. All
So
right.
I have nothing for you to vote
I
on.
know there are some people who actually understand this legislation and know what it's about that would like to have some input here.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, I
there's a whole-
understand it. I just don't trust it, is what I'm saying. I don't trust anything. Since the state pushes the WHO and CDC guidelines, it scares the hell out of me that they're going to go woke on us, and then we can opt out. I get that. But after you hire everyone, this is how things start.
yes.
It scares me.
Well,
It does scare me.
Cheryl's
And
not talking about hiring a bunch of
No,
folks either.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
No.
All right.
And the good thing is, if we would do it, 40% of this money can be used on existing programs, and they don't define new hires as existing or new program money, so if you need to hire a couple nurses, there's how you get your couple nurses, the state pay, but just to back up though, this money isn't free. Everyone says, well, if we don't take it, another county takes it, we pay for their, the other thing I would tell you, and I left my paperwork at home, the one other thing that scared me, one of the ladies that was on the 16-panel board wrote a pretty good article, or they interviewed her. She was on the board that helped write this,
The commission,
and I forget her name, but she said and I'll pull the article, but she said basically that our bad health in Indiana is due to the racist state that we are, and I went, that was just another one for me, like, okay, here we go again.
flag.
And that this program was gonna basically fix that problem.
Yeah, yeah,
And in other
yeah.
words, it's inequity in
Which is
health
ludicrous.
because we're racist,
But,
I approve it.
and maybe that's the case in Hamilton County.
Yeah,
Or Marion County
yeah.
or whatever. And that's the good part of this legislation after they threw out all the mandates and all of that stuff is that we can do the programs that we need to do that are beneficial for DeKalb County. We don't have to follow the same matrix on these core services that the larger counties do. We can tailor this the way we want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of flexibility to
Yeah.
it, I will tell you that. The home rule, I don't think is, I don't think we're in any danger of losing home rule on our health care at this point. My problem is, again, like I said, the Bible says, a little bit of leaven, makes the whole loaf go up. And eventually, in other words, you let a little in, and I just want to make sure this isn't a backdoor way for centralized medicine in the whole country before it's over. So I need to talk to Souter more, and
Well,
It was a good
I would
conversation, though.
encourage you to do that.
yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and he's honest with me, so.
You can count on that.
okay.
Bill,
Do we need a public hearing on that, or can you take public comment without doing a public
You
hearing?
can you can probably comment anytime you want to. It doesn't have to be a public hearing.
There's a proposed ordinance that Susan showed me. I reviewed it. It basically is the same as what you guys are just talking, that it says it's all local control and that you have local self-directed control, but it can't deal with what happens in the future in the ordinance, other than just saying you're accepting the funding and you have it does mention like you have local self-control, but how long will that last? I mean, I understand. That's something you have
It's
to think about.
it's the template that Cheryl had sent everybody.
Yeah, I read that.
Months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, drug-free DeKalb, do we give them any money or are they grant only, or do we just approve their grant? Drug-free DeKalb, the nice lady always comes in here and presents once a year to
Wait.
us.
Becky Calhoun.
Yeah.
Well, they provide grant, I mean,
Do we give anything out of our budget to them or do we
not out of
just?
county in general.
No, so we give no money, taxpayer money to them. We just approve her grant requests, right?
Correct.
Okay. I was gonna say, if we gave her money, maybe, if we did this, maybe the state could give her the money instead, but
She
if we're not
has her
giving.
own little pot of money in her specific drug-free fund.
So it is paid for with taxpayer money then? Money has to come from somewhere, you said.
We don't,
We don't, but I'm not sure how they're. how
let me
she's
log in here a
funded.
minute.
I know, should we prove to let her get a grant, every year we.
Well, it's not for her to get a grant. You're
She gives
approving her to
grants.
give grants to
Oh, we're approving, okay, I gotta
like
get that backwards,
the
I'm
people
sorry.
that are asking for them.
I see that, okay.
Yeah, so she gives grants to the, Monarch Foundation
Okay.
and.
So where does her
and
money,
The
where does,
schools and so forth.
okay, where does her money come from then?
You know, I'm looking right now.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I've had many.
Because like
come
I
in
said,
yet.
if we're gonna take this money and we're currently handing out money, let's just substitute the money
Yeah.
from the state instead of from our
I
coffers.
believe that
Well,
it
and
is.
that's all part of this
Your fees.
partnership thing. I mean, there are a number of programs that Parkview offers and a number of programs that, St. Martin's has some different
So this
things that
is
we
their
can
monthly.
partner with. There's no sense to have Cheryl's people doing things that are offered somewhere else if they can coordinate that and work it into the county and use that money like you just said.
Oh, I'd agree
Why,
with
why
that.
doesn't the state just give them the money then? Why does the money have to come through the county?
Because the local health departments can decide what are the best programs for our population.
Okay, that makes sense for once. That's one comment does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Rather than the state telling us, well, this entity gets it or that one gets it.
Yeah.
Go,
See,
what'd
that's
you have, Susan?
the drug-free money is brought in by fees that are charged, like if, by order. So like every month, the clerk gives us their report of collection. So they've like collected all these monies, whether it's through pre-trial diversion or whatnot, and then it splits out. So like we put money into drug-free, I can't even think of all the other ones we do, probation, juvenile, like we put their fees that they've collected, the clerk has collected into their funds.
And
So
that
it's
part of that goes to
not-
drug-free then, so it comes off
Yeah,
of
it's not
user fees?
taxpayers. It's basically whatever the person did, and they were ordered to pay X amount of dollars for
Really?
like
Okay.
alcohol and drug countermeasure is what the category is. So if they are required to pay that because of whatever they did, then they pay it, and that's what funds that. It does not come from property tax, income tax, none of that.
Okay, good. All right.
I got a question then. We can opt in, and we got the option to opt out next year.
Right.
If we don't opt in this year, can we opt in next year? If we opt out this year, can we opt in next year?
That was a question I had too. We could go a year and we'd be at a year disadvantage, obviously, of everyone else, but we could also see, is this working or not? Do we want to go through the hassle to approve it, only have to get back out? Do we want to miss a years of funding too? I do know this, like Mike said, I think that St. Martin's is obviously very interested in this because they provide a service to people. But then again, I got to look and see if that's really our goal, is to expand our healthcare department. Because that's what you're really doing. You're expanding your healthcare department. They're already so
You're
busy
You're
that,
expanding the per capita expenditure on health
yeah.
for all of our constituents. You're not necessarily expanding the health department, you're expanding the services, but you're, for the most part, and I've had many conversations with Cheryl about this, it's in the whole partnership aspect of that is what really makes sense.
Right. Well, partnership's a nice word. I hope it really would be a partnership. I just, like I said, I have my reservations about dealing with the Fed or the state in these type issues. I just think that healthcare is one that just scares me. In the current environment of what's the unreality that's out there, that it just worries me about the state, but.
Okay,
So do you want in a couple weeks just to have it as a topic of discussion, and if people come, they want to come and talk about it, but not an actual public hearing because it's not needed?
yes.
Put it on the agenda so people
Yeah,
will know
put it on
what
the
to
Yeah.
agenda, right.
come.
I think that's a good idea.
So the 17th is pretty full. Are you okay with me doing it on the 24th, like at 9 before the pledge?
That'd be fine with me, but then we need to make a vote, in my opinion, at least the week after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, like I said, if we're gonna do it, Cheryl would like a month. And I want her to be successful if we do it.
So I can do it next week. It's just going to not be until like 11.
I think we can wait. That'll give people time.
We're okay.
Yeah. I only
Okay.
need, once I talk to Souter and hear the public comment, I'll be able to make up my mind.
You still got, yes, we can vote the 31st.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
24th.
Okay, I'm putting on the 24th at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Good with everyone? Okay. Hey, Ben.
Mr. Parker,
Mr. Quiet.
Morning.
good morning.
Slide in.
I did sneak in here.
What you got today for us?
A few things. First thing I got on my list is consultant LPA contract for County Road 56 construction inspection. NDOT did approve the language, so it's up for the 3 commissioners to sign, and they have for Andrew Cruz to attest. So if you guys, this is the same thing I sent you a while back. We went through, then I had to wait for NDOT's approval, so NDOT did
that.
approve. So we're ready to execute and then move forward with that. So if you guys are okay, it's for all 3 commissioners to sign,
It's for the 54 bridge, you say?
but it's for the County Road 56.
56.
Reconstruction.
Reconstruction, yeah.
327 to 11A.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I suppose I'm good with it.
You want the header page?
Yeah, where's the header?
It'd be between Butler, Fairman, Seifert, and DeKalb County for construction inspection for County Road 56.
Okay, so it is between BF and S then.
Right.
I'd move that we sign the consulting contract with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for County Road 56 construction.
A motion and a second. Comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion is approved. We all sign.
And Andrew has to take a test, is that what you said?
Yeah, I don't know why they put him on there, but that's,
Signing my life on the line here for
did.
this.
We didn't want you to feel left out.
Well, thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
That's good, because normally it's me. Go for it.
Bottom right there.
All right.
I think I'm going to get a copy of this since our email's being funny right
that's
now.
fine.
Okay,
All right, good idea.
so that I can have it.
Email working yet, Ben?
Yeah, I sent the girls stuff this morning, it was working.
Okay.
Have to log in through that other portal, and you're good to go.
I didn't have to do any of that.
No,
thankfully.
What you got,
I
Ben?
did.
Last week I dropped off the performance bond, payments bond for Bridge 57 to Susan. I don't know if she did that to you guys. If not, we have that. Andrew did review that, approve it, and
We,
We just
they
did
just
that.
did it.
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
all right. The next thing, I don't have it complete yet, but I'd like to, if you guys are okay with it, to rebid Bridge 132. Send that out for bid again. I did speak to two of the contractors that was a plan holder. They did not receive quotes back for their box structure from their supplier in time to submit. And then the third guy that had plans, the scope of work would not work in his time frame. So on this new proposal, I'm gonna allow it to go out to June of next year with hopes of them doing it this fall. But then if not, they can do it in the spring
Where's that bridge located, Ben?
on
132?
72.
72,
That's the one that we're gonna.
Spencerville?
No,
Or,
it's, just east of 35. I think it's actually an Auburn address, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that we're eliminating the bridge, putting a small
The
structure in.
small structure.
Yeah.
So if I can get that wrapped up here, I'd like to send that back out to bid. There's nothing you guys need to sign on it. I just wanted a consensus that you're
Yeah.
okay.
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, especially if we get a better bid. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I would hope so.
Everyone we eliminate out of the process is one less good bid we get.
Is that the one we didn't get any bids?
Right.
What was the name of that? Was that a bridge or a road?
Right now, it's Bridge 132. But it's-
132,
Yeah,
okay.
but it's going to be replaced with a small structure.
Small structure, got it. Thanks. I just wanted that for a minute.
And then just FYI, we had our pre-construction meeting last week for Bridge 57, which is the one you got the bond for. And Milestone's plan on starting that July 17th.
Good.
So there will be that does have a 60-day closure, but they're hoping to have that done in 4 weeks is what they're shooting for. So if they have that done, that much sooner and that much better. So
I'm sorry, Ben, which one was that?
Bridge 57 on County Road 40.
Oh, okay.
So, and then Brooks is hoping to start on 35,
Oh,
week of the 23rd. Is that right?
Is this July even? Who knows?
17th, week the 17th.
okay. That was a question I had.
Yeah,
Yeah. 17th.
No, I think, this is January's calendar, New Year's Day.
yeah, you ain't turning your calendar very good. I think that don't even sound right. So, but that's what they're shooting for right now. We did get
Okay.
out there and get the spots marked out to be milled and the deep patch areas, and so unless something changes, but that's the date right now,
That's from Waterloo all the way down to,
Auburn Drive.
okay.
That's the joint project with Auburn and us.
Right.
So
That's gonna be a remill,
that's a mill and overlay,
mill and overlay.
mill patch overlay, yes.
You go down full, what, 3 inches there on that?
We're doing 2 inches.
2
with
inches?
patching.
Okay.
Should be a good project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. We'll have an interstate there when we're done.
Okay. All right.
People, they'll speed on
They'll
it.
drive fast because it'll be smooth.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be the first advantage of the new highway bill, a place to put those millings,
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
and we can use those millings. So,
What do we use those millings for again, Ben? Would you use them for base to make a decent base?
Yep, absolutely.
So if we rip out peat somewhere, you could fill it with that? Is that the
Well,
idea?
not necessarily. I mean, peat's its own animal, but we can use it for a lot of fill in a lot of areas. Not just necessarily for peat, but
Okay. Like where you put rock usually, or for a base, could you use it for that? And-
to an extent, yeah. The thing with that is it settles a lot if you put it
That's what I
real
was
deep, it
wondering.
packs. You're gonna have to pack it, but we can use it on, I'm hoping to try using it on some road conversions
yeah.
Okay.
as my
That's,
Oh, okay, road
that's where the
conversions.
big benefit would really
And we
come.
can run pug out of it, so if we want to mix some A90S in that and then run a pug mill through it, we can actually make, it's like a cold in place asphalt.
Really?
We can run it through our paver, we can lay it, roll it. We don't want to use it on the high profile roads, it takes a while for that stuff to pack down and get hard, but we can do them things. So, and use it for patch material as well. So there's a benefit to it, just you gotta have the room to store it, and if you want to process it, you gotta have the room to process it. And we haven't had the room to process that.
Yeah. Barely had room to store any rock at your last place. You worry about hitting power lines and everything else. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, and then, community crossings matching grants calls out. I'm working on the submittal for that. I'm working on some cost estimates. I hope to have them wrapped up this week. You guys are going to, I can bring it back up next week, but I'd like to just have a consensus for Bill to sign a commitment letter.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the full $1 million
Okay.
for the match. And then that way I can get that submitted early, hopefully get a review, and I don't anticipate any issues, but if there is, and then I got time to correct it.
Is $1 million the limit you can ask for? I mean, that's the cap? Okay.
$1 million per year,
It's per year, not per,
not
Yeah.
per call, per year.
Right.
Per year.
Yeah, the first call, I get questions all the time why we don't submit on that. And I don't submit on it because it just, for us, it just don't make sense. You know, because contractors' portfolios are full. By the time, if we submit that in January, they're gonna have that, the call's gonna close at the end of January. And then typically have February, March to review it. They release it first of April. By the time you get your notice, get your bids out, do bids, everybody's already bid their projects for the year. So then it's gonna drive up your cost if you can even get them to do it. So I try to do mine in July. And see, a lot of times last year, I didn't even get notice of award till November.
I remember that.
November. So then right after the first year, I had my bid docs ready, I bid it. Typically, we get a good bid, and then that gets done that year.
makes sense.
I just don't know. I think it just breaks it up, and gives them a little bit more time at NDOT. I don't know how many people really submit on the January call or some. It just depends on your project. But for street projects, it makes it difficult if you want to get a good price that summer. I hear it all the time, that the bids are high from that call, so who knows?
Okay.
And this fits in my schedule a little bit better anyway. I think that's all I have for you guys.
Okay, anyone have anything for Ben?
Are we discussing his security
Yes, we are.
with him while he's here? And was there anything, the only other thing I had for him was if there was anything you guys wanted to talk about on that traffic study thing on,
Let's just jump into the security first,
Okay.
see how time goes. It was determined, I think, last week that we can go up to 150,000 without bidding, not to 50. And then we talked about just pulling the wire and not actually buying the cameras and so forth until later, separating that out. Do I remember that right? We discussed that.
I don't know, I slept since then. If I didn't write it down, I'm not sure.
what I remember from last week, and I'm not the expertise on this stuff, but what I remember last week is you weren't sure about the cameras, but you thought the proximity cards were a good thing.
I think I remember that,
Yeah.
yeah.
If the wire's there, if the wire's been pulled, we can always add the cameras and whatever else we need at a later time. We're kind of hesitant on all this security out there.
I know we cut it back a lot from what they originally proposed,
It's a $10 million project. If we're going to do it, let's just do the damn thing right to begin with.
It depends on what's right, what's wrong, and whose opinion that is.
Well, I
So,
guess-
your right might not be my right. I'm sorry, Mike, it's just the way it is. I think, and I'm going to have limited time Thursday, because you're not going to be here, obviously, because you're in Indianapolis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so what you have to say is kind of irrelevant at this point. I'm going to have limited time, so I will get over there before 11 o'clock, and we will discuss this with the Elevitus and FCI and figure this out, whether we need to move ahead and do it all up front or wait and add the cameras and so forth later.
I think ultimately it's going to be our decision. Regardless, I think we ought to have the conduit put in.
Yeah.
Did Elevitus write the spec for all this? They did, didn't they? I mean, they're the ones that laid it all
And
out.
basically, they got part of the project with FCI was to have all the boxes placed, all the conduit placed, and then it was up to us to get a quote to have the wire installed, the cameras installed, the door swipes badges. So if we was to hold off, I'd probably hold off on the wire and the cameras to boot. Because it, depending on when we do it, what wiring it may need, it may not be the right wire. I don't know. I'm not a real tech guy. That's
Well,
It's all just Cat 6 wire.
that would be a jack question.
It's gonna be power over ether. I would install the wire when you're there because it's almost free. You know, I'm saying you're already, it's gonna be power over Ethernet wire, Cat 6, which is real easy to pull and install. One thing I'll tell you from what will tell you from security cameras, they're really good at identifying, yes, we were robbed or someone broke in. You almost never get a conviction, or unless someone looks at the camera and they're proud of it and they do this, oh yeah, he's got a scar right there. So I've noticed the $79 cameras I have are as good as the $4,000 cameras I've seen, unless you have an operator there all the time on the power zoom, and you know where someone's actively scanning. I've seen the automated software where it supposedly can track someone it sees and then it zooms in, but those cameras are like $3-4 grand each. And then I would just caution you that I think we need to have some cameras to see what's going on. I think that the card ID I have no problem with, but if we go crazy on these cameras, I don't think there's any benefit from a cost standpoint to have the super high end versus the cheaper cameras. It's just because you just don't see that kind of definition. I can show you some $79 cameras, and they're phenomenal. Even the night range is good. But like I said, unless that person basically states their name and social security number, you're not going to identify them from the...
Mostly the deterrent.
Yeah, it's more of a deterrent. That's why I'm saying that even a fake camera out there is more of a deterrent than anything.
I think it would be wise if we at least have something at the front, around the gate.
Yeah.
I still like to
for
have
sure.
something around the office, one inside the office like we spoke with an intercom. Just in case there's ever an instance during the day, we would have that on camera, them coming in and out, and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, that would be beneficial. You know, as far as the rest of it, if we wanted to cut back, save some money, it is going to be fenced. I think it would be wise to have some, but I also know the laws and I know what you're saying. That ain't the first time I've heard that.
Yeah. I think that we need cameras, don't get me wrong. I just don't, how many did
Well, that was my-
how many did it
my
call
point.
for? How many did it call for? How many cameras were we looking at?
I don't
There was, we cut it back, there's one at each corner of each building, and then I think there was one in the center of each building and one on a fuel pump.
See, that seems like a lot to me, but I think you would need it at the entrance. Maybe each building have one camera or two, but I don't think, I'd have to see the
certainly the
layout
fuel
again.
island, you
The
want-
fuel, I think you want to have a camera on it for
That's
sure.
what I was gonna say. The fuel station
Yeah.
probably should have a camera.
There's different, like, there's 180-degree ones, and there's 360-degree ones. And this one that I'm,
360s went on the corners and
Yeah.
180s went on the
so
wall.
there
Yes.
was 12 of those and 4 of the other, and then everything else is all the other,
Like on your 360s though, they're
that
probably
goes with-
not set, they're not automated to track a moving target, are they? In other words, if someone
I
breaks in
think
there.
they was.
So those are pretty expensive. I'd like to see what those
I think
those came in
That's
at.
a Jack question. I don't,
Okay.
I mean, because he kind of ran with that, what
Yeah.
he thought we needed, and
I'd like to talk to Jack on that. Where's-
do you want us to see if he's available?
Yeah,
he's in there, I just seen him.
yeah, if he has time.
I mean, he's probably,
All right.
he's probably dealing with email, but
We got 10 minutes.
I'd just like to know what those cameras cost. What I did with my 360 cameras, I put them in the position that I thought was the most beneficial, because they still cover about 120 degrees at one time. And then if I wanted to move them, I did. I didn't go with that expensive camera that automatically tracks and zooms, because of, literally, it was 3,000 or 4,000 per camera, the stuff I was looking at. Ooh, that's a lot of money, but.
If we did that, like I said, it would definitely be under the 150 amount, it wouldn't have to be bid. So I think we can separate it out between all the entry fobs and the entry system, whatever that's called, and then the security cameras.
We could put the labor and the materials back together
Yeah.
under that 150.
Now, the way you're going to enter the facility during the day, is the gate going to stay shut during the day too, or will it just stay open during operating hours? Okay, good. 'Cause you wear it out back and
Right.
forth and slow you down. But at night, you'll shut it when general operations are closed. I mean, I know your 24/7.
No, we come in on call or
department.
something, I'm speculating that we'll open and close it when we leave.
Yeah,
Just,
because no one's there.
right,
Okay.
because my concern is that all being fenced in, if someone go in the back, you don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
what's in there.
Will you use a RFID card to get in along with the code? Is it going to be a transmitter from the truck?
But the trucks, the route trucks and everything was supposed to have a transmitter.
Okay, the route trucks will.
Yep, that way if it was shut, it would open. And then I think the badge was gonna open it for people as they're coming to work. That's
Okay.
only gonna really defer on the first person there.
Okay,
I'm thinking during the week.
because they'll open up the gate then.
Right,
That's what the airport has. The airport has an RFID card with your picture on it, and then you also have to type a code on top of that. It's not just, that way they know someone didn't steal your card, and then they have a camera watching you come in, watching you go out, and that is, to me, good security at that point. And it's just a simple camera. They don't have a high-end, it's just a fixed camera that sees your license plate coming in, sees you going out.
I do believe that. It's been a while, a friend of mine worked at L&L Leasing, which is now changed, I can't think of the name of it. But they had some issues there, that's one reason that place got totally fenced in, and gates across the front.
L&L?
Yeah, it's not L&L now, but it was L&L Leasing. That's just catty corner from us. I can't think of the new name of it, but hopefully we don't have any issues, but, we
Right.
are kind of out at the skirts there, dark.
I can break into your current facility a lot easier, though, right through the park.
I'd let you in. No, there is camera back there.
I know there is.
There's Jack.
Yeah. We need answers.
Come on up, Jack. Put your mic on.
We was talking about the security cameras for the new highway department. Okay.
Those 360 cameras that you're talking about on the corners of the buildings, are those automatic power telescoping and zoom where they move, like they capture an image in motion and then start zooming on it and tracking it, or is that all manual?
Most, if they're like the rest of them that we have, it's not automatic tilt, pan, zoom.
Okay, a PTZ, yeah.
It's a static view. It's a
Okay.
360 fisheye view type.
Oh, so it is a 360 fisheye, it doesn't move around and.
Right.
I
Right, so,
gotcha, okay.
We have a couple in the jail right now that in center of hallways or intersections or whatever that way, and basically it's 4 cameras in one,
I gotcha.
and each one has a separate view. During the recording process, if we were to go with that package, you can go through then and pick that particular camera and zoom in and do things like that type of function. But
Where's the storage of the videos gonna be? Is it gonna be on
On-site.
On an on-site DVR? Will it be cloud backed up at all or
be
anything?
cloud backed up. Yep.
Okay. And how much are those 360 cameras each approximately? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, and unfortunately, in the way that it was,
Wasn't idolized.
offered, it was a bundled price.
I got ya.
It wasn't, this camera is. that
Yeah, it's
much
just
away. I mean, we could go out, and we got the model numbers on them, we could go out and see through CDW or another vendor and see how much they are.
Yeah, because I was just telling them I'd put some simple, and again, our business is nothing like the highway department, but I couldn't find a difference between the $79 cameras as far as quality of picture and I looked at some cameras that were $3,000 and $4,000 each, but they had the ability to automatic PTZ. In other words, they found a target and they would latch onto that and then zoom in. And
The cameras that we're using out at the covered bridge follow that same design where you can say, ignore the animals, that type. It's
Yeah.
smart enough
Yeah,
not
smart
to
motion.
follow the raccoon at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
you know.
that'd be fun, though.
You'd be
Yeah, all right.
pretty busy following the raccoon and the rats.
I'd like to visit the site with Ben and just kind of walk through it and go through all the cameras and make sure
We
it
could
makes
grab a
sense.
set of the plans with the
Yeah.
camera boxes, because it was all based on the box locations.
Yeah, I'd like to see that plan of where it all is and,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So, while I have you here, where are we in the process then? Because the vendor is terribly concerned about product, and getting product. If we are talking of, January move date or whenever, occupation date, cutting it close.
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, he needs, so the process, and I saw the email from Andrew, and we were trying to get everything ordered at this point.
So the sooner that you guys decide whether you're going to let them have anything, the better. Otherwise, you may have nothing. Because the vendor might not be able to get the stuff.
Sure.
And that won't be the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, if we
As long
have
as
to
the
wait a
wire's
month or
there.
two,
The
extra.
wires there, yeah.
Yeah, we can still operate without it, but it'd be
Yeah.
nice to have it done, so
Yeah, at
let's,
least have the gate,
yeah, we gotta have the gate working though for sure and,
But that's-
that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So do we go through and have them at least start, do we break it into 2 projects, one for video and one for security?
I think that might be a good idea, actually. You have the security of the fence, but the fence has to be done, period. I mean, we
Right.
gotta have the automatic fence.
Right.
And
Then-
maybe break it out, maybe break those 2 out. Break out the fence and the camera separately.
Well, at least if we did that and there was,
You can go ahead
there
and
was
move ahead
concerns
on
about
the-
the cameras or whatever, we would at least have
Yeah,
that part. That part
yeah.
in place.
I think we ought to do that.
Move forward on the gates and the
Yeah,
passes.
let's get the gates and the passes going and let's talk about the cameras. I'm not saying I'm gonna axe all the cameras. I just wanna really look at it and see what the total cost is on it and say, wait a minute here, does
Yeah,
this
I
make
get that.
sense? Because I assume we're gonna do PoE Cat 6 wire out there on everything, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's easy to install.
Right.
You don't have to run high voltage power or anything. They're just
Right.
gonna,
Take a break.
so,
So long
okay.
as the conduit's in place.
Well,
Yeah, it's like we got the conduit in, so, yeah.
are you coming back?
Yeah, we have a 10, oh, wait.
I know,
that's-
but are you coming back for
Yeah,
this
are we
meeting?
done? Okay, well, we got to adjourn then.
Are you going to vote to move forward with the passes and the gate and stuff?
Well, I think we can do that, right?
Yes.
The passes
So you need
and
to do that before you go off the record,
Okay,
because we have
so
an executive session.
I make a
Yep.
motion that we approve the gate and the
Yeah.
IDs for the project at the Highway Department.
I'll
Or make that
second,
motion, I mean.
I'll second that if my opinion's not too irrelevant.
Motion, and a second. Additional comments?
Okay, just so I understand, because what I'll end up doing then is if you're approving the security portion of it, I'll get with the vendor and tell them to move forward with that, and then we will readdress the video portion of
Yes.
it at a later date.
Correct.
Gotcha.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same. Motion carries.
Now we're adjourned.
For the public that's listening, we will not be returning because we have an executive session.
It is 10 o'clock. Almost. Got goofed up there for a while.